Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Is this Walker?
It's Walker and Craig.
All right.
The actual Craig is on a mic over here.
The actual Craig
everybody.
that inspired
Not
the
a
T-shirt.
make-believe
Be
Craig.
a Craig.
Not a fake Craig, not a doppelganger Craig, the real Craig.
Well, we're so glad to talk with you. Things have dramatically changed for you in so many areas. I would imagine that's an understatement.
It is. It has. But honestly, the greatest thing that has changed about me is I know Jesus now, and it's insane. The audience that I have to share that with. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Just this book, AA, the song. I mean, who would have thought? Like, I don't know. When we had Fancy, like, I was scared what to do next, and I was like, maybe I'm a one-hit wonder guy.
Yeah.
I was like, I still listen to Hanson.
Sure.
I was like, they still play shows, so maybe I can still play music. But no, man, we are grateful, and Craig and I, honestly, we're sitting here on these mics wondering just what is life. We're just blown away that we get to share this story together, and that people are there. People are there to hear it. And while we were just laughing, saying when we started this book, we both could have sold like 15 copies, and now, and since then, Fancy Like's come along, AA, You Girl, all these songs that have attracted people to the music, and now we can share a message that really matters,
Of course, the book is I'm Glad You're Here, and you guys wrote that together. But, hey, Craig, maybe you could tell us, how did your paths come together?
Yeah, we met in early 2014, and our wives had actually connected in a neighborhood gathering. I think it was actually for essential oils like doTERRA or something like that.
Pyramid schemes.
Yeah. And they recognized each other when we were together at a basketball game for our sons, and they saw each other, across the hallway, went and reconnected. I think Walker was holding Loxley at the time. We had a brief interaction, but it was, one of those chaotic moments where you've got all the kids around and everything. And my wife, Laura, actually invited Lainey and the family to church at Redeeming Grace. We were meeting on Saturday nights at the time. Mm-hmm. And we had come from East Tennessee to help plant a church in Franklin, Tennessee. So we had about, 30 people or less. And they came that night, and I remember just being, a lot of people will say, yeah, I'll come, and they don't come. And, so excited that they had shown up, and there was Walker, and so, went up, and just like the song says, I said, oh, man, glad you're here. Mm-hmm. And that's how we really met, and then formed a friendship, started doing all kinds of stuff together from there, and it's just been a gift from heaven.
Well, speaking of gifts, we're talking with Walker Hayes and his very good friend, Craig Cooper. And you gave Walker a pretty big gift because, Walker, at one point after losing your recording contract, you were working at Costco, and you said, you've been honest and said, hey, I was having trouble making ends meet. You've got a large family, and you said you saw your vehicle be repossessed, which I can imagine was a shocking moment. But then what did Craig do for you?
Yeah, it was shocking. My kids thought it was cool when they loaded it on the truck, and I was like, I mean, it is kind of cool, but if it was someone else's car, that would be cooler. Yeah, but Craig shows up at one of my baseball games, and he was brave to do this because I'm just not an inviting, especially at that time of my life. I wasn't inviting help, or companionship in my life. I was fine being an island. And so he shows up in my son's baseball game in his own minivan. And he gets out of the car, and he's got the title and the keys, and he's like, man, I want to give all you got to do is sign, and it's yours. And guys, I mean, sadly, I was mad. I mean, it got tense there in the parking lot because I was like, bro, I'm not this bad off. Like, I don't need help. I'm not the guy. Like, I don't want to accept this because by accepting it means I needed it, and I couldn't get myself out of this hole. So it took a minute for me. Finally, my daughter said, "Dad, just take the car." And so I drove it home. And honestly, I feel like at that moment there was a thing Craig said that night. He said, "Man, somebody did this for me once. Just let me do this for you." And that sentence, man, it impacted me. It just gave me permission to be weak and just let just bow down, and just go, okay, help. Thank you for the help, And so I never quite could express my gratitude. So that's where the song came from. But little did I know what I was seeing in Craig. It wasn't Craig. It was Christ in Craig is what I was so drawn to. And, that's what I eventually learned. But I truly believe that night something softened inside of me when Craig was bold and brave enough to just help, see a need and fill it.
So Walker, you're at the height of your career. Why do you feel it's important to share this story with your fans and listeners?
It's the most important thing to me in life. I want Jesus, and that's it. My life doesn't reflect, if you stood by me in a day, it doesn't reflect that, but that's why I need the Lord. And I was telling somebody yesterday, this fancy-like stuff and this, the AA and honestly, all of this music stuff, don't get me wrong, I love it. And it's amazing, but I would give it back for Jesus in a moment. I don't, it is meaningless compared to the value of knowing Christ. And I want to share that message most of all. And truly, I believe that's why God gave me fancy like. It's not so I can go buy a mansion or be famous and wear tight pants and dance around on a stage. It's so that I can share this amazing, modern day Bible story that happened on my sidewalk when I was an alcoholic with no car, with my kid. You know what I'm saying? And so that's why it's important for me to get this story. And the rest is, don't get me wrong, it's fun. And I want to have more hits, and I love country music so much. But most of all, I want to share what Christ has done through just a normal relationship. That's what I think is so powerful about the book, is that Craig and I, we could be no more just normal. We're just two dudes,
Right.
And Christ is there. It's not over in some other country. It's not in the past. It's not in the future. It's like literally right now, and between two houses in the most lame neighborhood you've ever seen.
You mentioned the two houses. You guys are more than friends. You're neighbors now. You moved in next to him, correct?
Correct. And ask Craig, how crazy is that? Were you blown? Were you like, oh my gosh, you're going to move where? Like,
oh man, open arms, just thrilled. Absolutely. We were so excited when they decided to move next door. Walker and I were sitting, once he closed on the house and everything, we're sitting out on his back porch, drinking coffee together, just like reveling in our stories and all of this, and then thinking, man, what is happening? We live right next door. Our kids are all best friends. And he said, hey, dude, let's surprise the girls and let's rip out a section of that fence, and the fence that separates our two backyards. And so we just jumped up immediately and went and did the deed. And it took us about, 30, 40 minutes?
Yeah, we
thought it was going to be easy.
We thought it was going to be easy, but it took a little longer than we thought to rip that fence up.
Yanking it. And then afterwards we thought, how cool is that? We didn't, plan that or anything, but afterwards we thought, yeah, this is like what's happened in our friendship.
That's right.
How just God has broken down barriers and united us together in such a way that, we share even our backyard.
Well, we're excited for you guys. The book is titled "I'm Glad You're Here." It's out May 3rd. And, of course...
it's like a movie, too. That'll be a movie as well.
They've got a website. It's a cool website. It's walkerandcraig.com, and it's titled, it says, Two Unlikely Friends, One Incredible Story, Discover the Gift of One Another, and I think that's super important.
Dude, I love you. You're speaking my language with movie. One day. Yeah, I hope. Who would play you, Craig? I feel like Mark Wahlberg would be a good Craig.
Oh, yeah.
I
there
think
you
he'd
go.
be pretty sick.
I like me some Mark.
Jim Carrey could play me.
There you go. Well, hey, if you need any extras, we'll be there.
Yeah,
There we go.
we'll be the
There you go.
neighbors.
All right, we'll have to
That's
let you go
awesome.
here, guys. But continued success, and thank you so much for sharing your story.
Hey, thank y'all
you.
for having us. It means a lot. Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you.